Hey guys, I have a lot of videos planned. I'm going to try and knock out like two or three today since my wife is working and I have some free time and I don't have any shows. So, we're going to start off by talking a little bit about ESG and stakeholder capitalism as opposed to shareholder capitalism. I'm going to play this clip from Young Ripa 59, where he is, it's taken from a longer podcast where he is talking with Az from Heel versus Babyface. And they are talking about CD Projekt Red, which is one of the companies that Anita Sarkeesian shook down over Cyberpunk 2077. So let's react, and I'm going to tell you a little bit, give my thoughts on some things. Okay, here we go. Bringing it up right now. Let's play it.
Approach to ESG in the context of our business. This approach reflects our identity and our values. It also takes into consideration the interests of our stakeholders identified in a relevance survey, which we carried out.
Again, he's just said the quiet bit out loud. Yeah. It's for the shareholders.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pause it right there. Now, I don't want to presume to know what Az is, like whether or not Az understands the difference between shareholder capitalism and stakeholder capitalism. I'm not here to dunk on him. I love these guys, especially Az. I think he was 100% right for what his rant about Starfield and the pronouns. I think he was 100% right about that. Full stop. Because this is not about authenticity. This is not about universal appeal. This is not about storytelling. This is not about writing. This is about ideological persuasion. This is about pushing behaviors. This is forcing change in culture, period. Okay. So 100% on these guys' side. Don't get it twisted. But I think that he misspoke. It could just be an error in what he said, but it could also be a misunderstanding. But I think there's an opportunity here to clarify some things. So let me zoom up a little bit. So Az is talking about the CD Projekt Red guy is saying we are essentially here to please our stakeholders. And Az speaks up and says it's about shareholders. Do you see the distinction? Are you aware of the concept of stakeholder capitalism versus shareholder capitalism? Well, allow me to explain. So shareholder capitalism and stakeholder capitalism represent two different approaches to the role and purpose of businesses in society, particularly in terms of whom they prioritize and whom they are accountable to. Here are the key differences between them. So in terms of their primary focus, shareholder capitalism places the primary focus on maximizing shareholders' value, i.e. the profits. The main goal is to generate profit and increase a company's stock price with a strong emphasis on financial metrics. So this is like how we've done it forever, okay? Like if I own shares in your company, then your company has a responsibility to essentially make sure that I, get a return on that. Otherwise, I could sell them, the shares could go down, this would kill your stock, etc. Okay? Stakeholder capitalism, on the other hand, is a model that broadens the focus to consider the interests of all the stakeholders. These are basically anything within the company that could be affected by it in a sort of moral framework, okay? This includes employees, customers, suppliers, communities, and the environment. So you see, stakeholder capitalism is not about people that own stock. It's about people who have a stake in the company, right? So how does this affect their decision-making criteria? In shareholder capitalism, decision-making is often guided by the impact on shareholder wealth. Executives may prioritize strategies that boost short-term profits or stock prices, even if they come at the expense of other stakeholders or long-term sustainability. Again, stakeholders is what they're saying in this definition. Shareholders are only concerned with profit, okay? But this is a good thing, actually, because it means that the company has to deliver a product that we want. They have to satisfy the customers, right? Now, this doesn't mean that there couldn't be some ethical concerns, but that has nothing to do with The fact that the company's trying to make profit, that's not on that. You can't systematize ethics. You can only practice ethics, okay, and morals, right? But the presumption under this sort of stakeholder model is that it has to come from the top down. This is what BlackRock is doing. They are not shareholders, they are stakeholders. What they're trying to do is use their stakeholder capitalist model, which is another one that is used by the guys at the WEF, Klaus Schwab, etc., to enforce changes. This is where ESG comes from. This is where DIE comes from. This is very important because it's not about greed. It's not about greed. I mean, people benefit financially, like Sweet Baby benefits by putting it in there, but that's because they're satisfying their stakeholders, who's like BlackRock and Vanguard, okay? Not the shareholders, not the customers, not the people like us that give money to companies so that we can get our product, you know, whether that is media or film or games or whatever, music, etc. So anyway, decision-making criteria, stakeholder capitalism, decision-making takes a more holistic approach, considering the potential impact on all stakeholders. Sounds like communism. Long-term sustainability, social and environmental factors, and ethical considerations play a more significant role in strategic decisions. So you see, these are different things. These are very different things. And it's really clever because they sound similar. And I think that it's possible because, again, I don't watch a lot of heel versus babyface. I've seen some videos. I like them. I just don't have enough time to watch everything I want to watch. And I'm watching other things, you know, sort of bring it all together, okay? But he may have misspoke, but I think that there are a lot of people that are involved with this whole Sweet Baby thing, and the people who are becoming more aware of the World Economic Forum and BlackRock and Vanguard and all of this other top-down crap that's going on, and they're still sort of like getting the narrative a little bit wrong because they're saying, oh, they're just being greedy. And the problem with that assumption is, firstly, to me, it's not accurate because it's not all that. I think that power is more important than greed, because the thing about money is that these people are okay with printing tons of money, which means they don't care about money that much. You know, it's all about power. It's about favors. It's about who you know. Those things have more impact, right? If you're friends with really powerful people, do you even need money? Like, you can just get whatever you want because they have it. Or they can get it from other people, right? So it's literally like, you know, it's like a mob mentality or like a mafia style, you know, organization on like a global scale. That's what's happening. That's what we're experiencing. But anyway, so stakeholder capitalism is where ESG comes from. Okay. Okay, so the focus with shareholder capitalism, more about this shareholder differences. The focus on maximizing shareholder value can lead to according to this definition, a short-term perspective where companies prioritize immediate financial gains, even if they may have higher negative consequences in the long run. Not necessarily true. I mean, it depends on your ability to project, but I don't think that it's like it is an inherent trait of shareholder capitalism, right? Most corporations that stick around for a long time only do so because they're able to adapt, you know. So they basically look at where the wind is blowing and they move with that. So take, for example, Zenith, which used to make televisions. They're out because they didn't adapt fast enough to the sort of, you know, HD digital change, you know, and that means that other companies like Samsung were able to adapt, and they're still here as an example. I don't know if it's a good example, but it's just off the top of my head. It's not, you know, there are people who make a product and the product changes, or the demand changes over time and the people don't adapt quickly enough, or they make mistakes, you know, like you can make decisions in the moment because you're observing what you think is a trend and it hurts your market share. For example, Bud Light is a good example where they were like looking at the writing on the wall and they were like, oh, everyone's into the trans thing, and so they they made Dylan Mulvaney a sponsor, and it did not work out for them because we were able to share this information with each other. And I think it was poorly planned out in the long run because they didn't really do the work to understand whether or not this trans phenomena that's going on right now is something that has legs, which it obviously doesn't because, well, it's kind of a genetic dead end, no pun intended. So stakeholder capitalism's focus is encourages a longer-term perspective, recognizing that sustained success is linked to the well-being of various stakeholders and the broader community. So what I'm reading from is something that is more biased in favor of stakeholder capitalism, but I hope you guys can sort of like interpret what is really going on. This is kind of being pushed hardcore, big time, by extremely rich and powerful people. The stakeholder model, because again, you know, if they can like control behaviors and enforce behaviors, I think that's more profitable for them. And I don't mean profitable in terms of money, I mean profitable like in every aspect, than it is for the rest of us, the plebs. Okay, so then we got under shareholder capitalism, there is the corporate responsibility is only on enhancing the company's wealth and value by complying with regulations rather than a genuine commitment to broader social environmental goals. Stakeholder capitalism is is when they are focused on not financial gains, but these broader social, political, environmental goals. This stuff kills small businesses. This stuff kills small businesses. No one can compete with that because and they're intentionally kept down. Like this DEI thing or DIE thing rather is not just in like gigantic corporations. They're going to get to smaller businesses and they're going to ruin them. So in essence, this is the main difference between shareholder capitalism and stakeholder capitalism. And when these people talk about ESG and they're talking about DEI, they are talking about satisfying their stakeholders, not their shareholders. And this is a crucial distinction. Okay? So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Can you add to this? I'm learning about it still. I will be releasing another video maybe a little later on a different topic. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And thanks for coming on. Long live Vivian.